Hello everyone, so in lieu of us having a workshop in school on how to make St. Bridget's crosses this year, I've decided to make this video, a little tutorial or workshop if you will, on how to make a cross for those of us who may have made a cross with me previously and have just forgotten a little bit, or for those of us who haven't made a St. Bridget's cross before. So it's very much based on very basic making. We're going to make two types of crosses today. We're going to make a four-armed traditional cross, like so. And we're going to make a three-armed cross, not so traditional. Okay, so for the crosses you need just a couple of basic things. You need, of course, a bunch of rushes, nice fresh green rushes which haven't started to go brown, hopefully. You will find those in very marshy fields and very wet areas and on the edge of lakes. Please make sure you get permission before you go into anybody's land looking for rushes. And you're going to need some pieces of thread, which I usually pre-cut to about 30 centimetres and have a pile of them here, or some sort of ropes or wool would do, or sellotape in a pinch, doesn't look as nice but it will work, or elastic bands, whatever you have. And you just need a scissors then for trimming. Okay, so I will be working from the perspective of a right-handed person, and you will be looking at me in the reverse in the camera. So if you could listen to my words, when I say right, you go right, and if I say left, you go left. If you're a left-handed person, you might want to reverse those in your head. Okay, so we're going to start with a rush, and you're going to get a second rush, and you're going to bend the rush so it wraps around the middle of your first rush like this. And both of those pieces of rush should now turn to the left-hand side. Okay, so this is what you're left with. Then you grab your left hand, you hold it, and you turn it one turn to the left. So if you can imagine you're in a car and you grab the steering wheel with both hands, and if you want to make a left turn, you would just go like this to go left. So we'll be doing the same quite a bit. Then you take another rush and you put it here underneath your little weave, not on top, underneath. Line it up, and then I want you to bend it around the already bent over rush, so both pieces of the new rush are now pointing over here to the left. And then I want you to grab all of them with your left, and I want you to turn it one turn to the left, and this is what you have. Okay, at that stage. Now I'm holding this firmly. If you let go, it will unravel. So you're taking another reed and you are bending it again, not on top, but underneath all your existing reeds. You're looking at the knot in the middle, which is vaguely square shaped. You're putting this reed at the bottom of that knot underneath, and you're bending it underneath and twisting over to the left. Okay, pinch it so that it stays in place. Get your left hand, hold onto it with your left hand, and turn it one turn to the left. Now you should have a basic cross shape with four arms. Okay, my hand is holding it very firmly here so that it doesn't unravel. Your next reed goes again in underneath all your previous reeds, and you're going to place it here at the central knot, but you're going to bend it around the reeds that you're holding in your hand here. You're going to bend it all the way around and point it over here to the left. Okay, so now it's pointing over this direction to the left. You're going to take your left hand, you're going to hold it with your left hand, and you're going to turn the whole thing one turn to the left. I'm keeping my thumb right here in the center, so it's holding those reeds in place. So again, you're going to take a reed, you're going to put it underneath the knot, you're going to bend it so that both parts of the reed are bent over here to the left-hand side. I'm going to switch hands, and I'm using my left hand to grab it and turn it to the left. So again, I end up holding it with my left hand. I'm right-handed, but I use my right hand to weave and my left hand to hold. Another reed, it goes underneath your existing square. You're going to bend it to the left. Both parts of the reed are now pointing over here to the left-hand side. You're going to use your left hand to hold them all together, and you're going to turn it to the left. If I just zoom in there, you'll see it's starting to take on a really nice basic weave shape. It's very even, it's very tight. Each preceding reed is held by the reed that went in just before it. So it's very symmetrical. Okay, back we go to weaving. So you just continue with these same four movements. Take one reed and hold it underneath. Bend it so both bits are pointed to the left. Move your left hand to grab it firmly, and then turn it one turn to the left. Then you get your next reed, underneath, bend, hold, turn. It's all left. We'll do another one. Underneath, so again it's going in here underneath. It's not going in on top here or up here, it's underneath. It's the very bottom thing to go in here. Turn it to the left, grab and bend one turn or rotation to the left. So I'm going to continue on with my weave here, same 4 movements, and talk a little bit about St. Bridget while I'm doing that. So St. Bridget, of course, is based on St. Bridget, who was a Christian saint from the 4th or 5th century, and we all maybe have heard the legend of how she used reeds from the floor of a dying chieftain's hut to weave across and talk about Christianity to him and to convert him from his paganism to Christianity before he died. There were many St. Bridgets and early saints in the Christian church recorded, so she may be just one lady or an amalgamation of them, but it's more likely that she is a mixture of the Christian St. Bridgets and the pagan goddess Bridget, who would have preceded Christianity, of course, by many, many years here in this country. And the pagan goddess Bridget was a member of the Tuatha Dé Danann, and she was a goddess of springtime, the end of winter, and fertility, and she would be associated with the feast of Imbolc, the pagan feast of Imbolc, which of course is an end of winter feast and marking the beginning of spring. And coincidentally, the feast of Saint Bridget, the Christian saint, is the 1st of February, which is the end of winter and the beginning of spring. So like many people and saints and goddesses, she was probably a mixture of a couple of different people, and the Christian church very cleverly would have mixed in the previous belief system of the people with their belief system, and then everything got a little bit topsy-turvy and mixed up as history went on. So here we go with our weaving. Let's just do a little close-up there of it again, and you can see a really nice tight weave happening there, with every reed being held in place by the next reed. And down along here you can see lovely linking and weaving happening. It should be all quite symmetrical. You could stop here. This looks like a really nice cross already, but I think I might just add a few more on. And each reed goes underneath that lovely square, over to the left, and then turn to the left. Okay. So I'm going to turn this upside down, and I'm going to look at the back side of it, and that's where I'm going to tie it. So you can get your piece of thread. You get very used to doing this one-handed, and then at an appropriate place on the arm that you're holding, so that's the arm where you put on the last reed, you can start to wrap your thread around. This white thread that I'm using is just a cheap sort of white string. It's nice and thin. You can tighten it a lot so that as the cross starts to dry out in the next few days and weeks, that you will lose a little bit of water and they'll become smaller and thinner and drier, and you might get some loosening. If you tighten this nicely, they should still hold together really, really well for a full 12 months. I'm just tying a double and maybe even a triple knot here at the back to make sure it's held in place. And you can just see what I have done there. And then this measurement, how long I've created this arm, you should make this even for all of your arms so that you have a lovely evenness to your cross when you finish. And then you just take your scissors, and I like to trim them. Some people like to leave them wild looking, but I like to trim them, and I put maybe a centimetre or so at the bottom there, so you get a nice evenness to it. So again, I'll just have a look at one that I made earlier. And you can see from the back side where all my knots are, it's not quite as nice in the middle, but from the front side, this is probably the side that you were looking at in the camera. It's beautifully symmetrical, beautifully even. There's a really nice tightness to that. And then you would put this for luck above a door, above an entrance to your home. So it could be a door or a window, and it will catch the bad luck and evil spirits coming in and keep them safe from the people within the house. It's also good to guard against fire, so the legend goes. And at the end of 12 months, you would discard this cross and you would weave a new cross and put it into place. So you might have a look at the 3-armed cross now, and it's exactly the same with only one small difference as our 4-armed cross. So you start with one reed, and then you bend a second reed around it, hold it with your left hand and turn it to the left. So you're left with this T shape. Then you get a third reed, and you put it underneath the weave here again, not on the top, underneath the weave. You bend it around your central reed, turn it to the left, grasp it with your left hand and turn it to the left. So you're left now with this crossish shape with 1, 2, 3 legs, not 4. So before we put in another reed going this way to make a 4th arm, we'll just have a look at how many reeds we have. We have a single reed here, we have 2 reeds here, and we have 3 here, okay? So we want to just thicken it up slightly, and I'm going to take a fresh reed and I'm going to bend it again underneath and around to my left. But then I'm going to take those 2 reeds and I'm going to combine them with my top reed like this, and I'm going to turn it 1 turn to the left and start bending and twisting and using my thumbs to flatten the center bit until I have a nice 3-armed weave. So I have 1 here, a 2nd one here, and a 3rd one here. Keep your thumb on that central area. You take another reed and you continue as before. You put it in underneath your central knot, you bend it to the left, it's kind of upward left now, and then you take your left hand and you grab all of them together, the one you've just done and the top ones, and then you turn it 1 turn to the left. So we have this lovely 3-legged weave happening. So again, you take a new reed, you bend it underneath your existing knot, bend both sides to the left like that, grasp everything, including the top ones, and turn it to the left. Now your central area shouldn't be a square, it should now resemble a rectangle. And as you continue with this weave, just like before, putting in your reed underneath, bending both pieces to the left and grasping all of the ones to the left as you turn to the left, keep using your thumbs to press and mold the center knot into a nice triangular shape. So again, you can keep going with that for a couple of more reeds, bending to your left. These triangular weaves have more in common with the God's eyes of South America and Middle Eastern culture, Arabic culture, and many cultures around the world would have a form of weaving which is to dispel bad luck and protection against the evil eye. So they call them God's eyes. They refer to whatever God it is you believe in your own particular culture. And you will see variations of this sort of simple weave with all sorts of materials. Not only reeds, which were plentiful in Ireland, but maybe willow or branches or wool wrapped around wooden centres. I suppose whatever is prevalent in an indigenous society. Okay, so as I go, I'm continuing to turn to my left. I'm continuing to press with my thumbs so that I create a really nice, tight, neat and symmetrical central area. So you can see there that we have a nice triangular weave forming. Okay, again, this is a nice size. You could probably stop there, or you could continue on as long as you go. It's an aesthetic choice. I might stop and just put on a cord to keep this one from unraveling. So you decide how long you want the arms to be. It's an aesthetic thing. It can be short and cute, or long and more elegant. Whatever you do, keep the legs the same length. Keep your cord the same width so that you have symmetry. Now, I think I will tie it here on this back side, and then I will continue to tie all of the arms on this back reverse side so that you end up with a lovely, neat looking triangular cross from the front. Okay, so I would trim this then with my scissors, and here's a look at one that we did earlier. Maybe from that side is probably the nicest side, I think. It all works in different angles, and that's how you make your 3-armed cross. So I'd like to say thank you to the 2 granddads who gathered all my reeds for me, to Chris and to Michael, and I would like to wish you all happy weaving. And this is a lovely Irish cultural tradition to keep going, so teach other people if you learn how to do it yourself. And please don't forget to take photographs of your lovely weaving projects and to upload them onto school social media. We'd look forward to seeing them. Okay, happy weaving!